When my son told me he didn't need my help anymore, I smiled and hung up the phone. The next day, I canceled all the payments. By the end of the month, he had learned a lesson he would never forget. But that was just the beginning. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening from in the comments. My name is Robert. I'm 58 years old and I own a construction company. For the past 4 years, I've been helping my son Marcus with all his expenses: university, apartment, car, health insurance, everything a 24-year-old needs to start his life. Marcus was studying engineering at the state university. I was proud of him. He was the first in our family to get a college degree. His mother and I divorced when he was 16. She moved to another state with her new husband. Marcus stayed with me. Since then, we've been a team, or so I thought. Marcus's apartment cost $1,200 a month. His car, a Honda Civic I bought him, required payments of $300 monthly. Health insurance, another $200. University tuition, $2,000 per semester. Food and personal expenses, another $500 a month. In total, I was paying approximately $3,000 monthly for his expenses. I didn't complain. He was my son. It was my investment in his future. Marcus graduated in May. He got a job at an engineering firm the following week. His starting salary was $65,000 a year, a good start for someone his age. I thought it was the perfect time to talk about his independence, not to cut off all help immediately, just to make a transition plan, maybe reduce my support gradually over 6 months, give him time to adjust to his new financial reality. I sent him a text message. "Son, congratulations on your new job. Can we talk this weekend about your financial future?" His response came 2 hours later. "Dad, I don't need to talk about that. I'm an adult now and I can handle my own finances." That confused me a bit. I was still paying all his expenses. How could he handle his finances if I was covering them? I called him that night. "Marcus, I think you didn't understand me. I just want to make a plan for you to become gradually independent." "Dad," he interrupted me. His tone was different, colder. "I already told you I don't need your help planning anything. I have a good job now. I can take care of myself." "But son," I said, "I'm still paying for your apartment, your car, your insurance. Don't you think we should talk about when you're going to start covering these expenses yourself?" There was a long pause, too long. "Look, Dad, I'm not a child anymore. I don't need you telling me how to handle my money. And frankly, I don't need your financial help anymore. I can manage on my own." My heart stopped for a moment. He didn't need my help anymore, but I was still paying for everything. "Marcus," I said slowly, "are you sure you don't need my help anymore? Because if that's the case, I suppose I can cancel all the automatic payments tomorrow." "Sure, Dad, do whatever you need to do. Like I said, I don't need your help anymore." And he hung up. I stared at the phone for several minutes. Had that really just happened? My son, whom I had supported for 4 years, had just told me he didn't need my help while I was still paying for his entire lifestyle? I smiled, a smile I hadn't felt in years. Marcus wanted to be independent. Perfect. I would give him exactly what he asked for. The next morning, I woke up at 6, like every day for the past 20 years. But this time, I had a specific mission. I made my coffee and sat in front of the computer. I opened my online bank account. There were all the automatic transfers. Marcus's apartment, $1,200 monthly. Car payment, $300 monthly. Health insurance, $200 monthly. Car insurance, $150 monthly. Credit card I use for his expenses, $2,000 limit. One by one, I canceled them all. Each click felt like a liberation, like taking a weight off my shoulders that I had been carrying for years. Then I called the insurance company. "Good morning," I said when they answered. "I need to cancel a policy. May I ask the reason for cancellation?"
"The beneficiary no longer needs my help."
I replied. "He's completely independent now."
"I understand, sir."
"The cancellation will be effective at the end of this billing period."
"Perfect."
Then I called the dealership where I had financed Marcus's car. I wanted to transfer the loan to his name, but there was a problem. Marcus had never been added as a co-borrower. The loan was completely in my name. Technically, the car was mine. I had bought it. I had made all the payments. Marcus just drove it.
"Interesting."
I called a towing company. "Good morning," I said. "I need you to pick up a vehicle that belongs to me." I gave them Marcus's apartment address, the description of the Honda Civic, and I explained that I had all the ownership documents. "We'll be there in 2 hours," they told me.
After hanging up, I realized I felt better than I had in months, maybe years.
For 4 years, I had been sending $3,000 monthly to Marcus, $36,000 a year, $144,000 total. I had never thought to calculate that figure before. When I did, I was breathless.
$144,000, more than many people earn in 3 years. Money I could have used to renovate my house, to take vacations, to save for my retirement. Instead, I had spent it creating an adult who didn't know the value of money, an adult who thought he could speak to me with disdain and still expect my support.
My phone rang. It was Marcus. "Dad," he said without greeting, "why was my credit card declined this morning?"
Good morning to you too, son. I canceled it.
"You canceled it. Why?" "Because yesterday you told me you didn't need my help anymore, so I decided to give you exactly what you wanted, complete independence."
Dad, you can't do that. I have expenses. I have responsibilities.
"Marcus," I said calmly, "didn't you tell me last night that you could manage on your own?"
Well, yes, but there are no buts, son. Either you can handle your own finances or you can't. Which is it?
"Dad, please, don't do this. We can talk. I tried to talk yesterday. You told me you didn't need my help planning anything, that you were an adult, that you could take care of yourself. I was being dramatic, Dad. I wasn't serious."
Dramatic? Marcus, you hung up the phone. You told me you didn't need my financial help anymore. Which part of that was dramatic?
There was silence on the other end. "Marcus," I continued, "for 4 years I've given you $3,000 a month, without complaining, without asking for anything in return. The only thing I asked for was a conversation about your financial future, and you told me you didn't need it."
Dad, I'm sorry. So am I, son. I'm sorry it took me so long to teach you this lesson.
"What lesson?"
That words have consequences, that respect is not optional in a relationship, and that real independence means exactly that, independence.
Marcus started crying. "Dad, I can't pay for the apartment without your help. My salary barely covers my basic expenses. Then you'll have to move to a cheaper place, or get a roommate, or work part-time on the side, like all independent adults do. And my car?"
Your car is technically my car. I made all the payments. In fact, they're sending a tow truck to pick it up right now. What? Dad, you can't do that. How am I going to get to work? By bus, like I did when I was your age, before I could afford a car.
Marcus was crying harder now. "Dad, please, I made a mistake. I didn't mean what I said."
Marcus, I said gently, this isn't revenge, it's a lesson. A lesson I should have taught years ago.
"What lesson?"
That money doesn't grow on trees, that respect for your father is non-negotiable, and that if you want to be treated like an adult, you have to act like one.
The following days were interesting. Marcus called me 12 times the first day, 8 times the second day. By the third day, he had stopped calling. Instead, the text messages began. "Dad, please, let's talk. I made a mistake. Dad, I can't pay the deposit for a cheaper apartment without my credit card. Dad, my boss asked why I've been late 3 times this week. It's because I take 2 buses to get to work. Dad, can you at least lend me money for an apartment deposit?" To that last message, I decided to respond. "Marcus," I wrote, "banks give loans. If you need borrowed money, go to a bank like any other independent adult." His response came immediately. "Banks require credit history. I don't have credit history because you've paid for everything." "Exactly," I replied. "That's precisely the problem. At 24, you don't have credit history because you've never had to be financially responsible. This is your chance to start building one." "Dad, this is cruel." "No, Marcus. Cruel would be continuing to allow you to be a 24-year-old child. This is tough love." On the 4th day, Marcus stopped sending messages. I thought he had finally accepted his new reality. I was wrong. On the 5th day, I received a call from my sister Linda. "Robert," she said without preamble, "what did you do to Marcus?" "Good morning, Linda. I taught him a lesson about independence. He's sleeping on my couch, Robert. He says you kicked him out of his home and took his car." "I didn't kick him out of his home. He never lived in my home. He lived in an apartment I paid for, and the car was technically mine." "Robert, he's your son." "Exactly. He's my son, not my permanent dependent. Marcus says you yelled at him and humiliated him." "Marcus is lying, Linda. I never yelled at him. I calmly explained that if he wanted independence, I would give it to him. Can you at least listen to his side?" I already heard his side. He told me he didn't need my financial help. He told me he could handle his own finances. He told me he wasn't a child anymore. I simply decided to believe him. Linda sighed. "Robert, I know Marcus can be difficult sometimes, but he's young. Young people make mistakes." "Linda, for 4 years I gave him $3,000 monthly, $144,000 total, without complaining, without conditions. I only asked for a conversation about the future, and he hung up on me." "But, there are no buts, Linda. Would you give $3,000 monthly to someone who treats you disrespectfully?" "Well, no, but then understand me. Marcus needs to learn that respect is bidirectional and that actions have consequences." "Robert, he's scared. He doesn't know how to be an adult." "Exactly, and that's my fault. I should have started teaching him years ago. Better late than never." "What do you want me to do? Tell him to leave?" "You can help him if you want, Linda, but not with my money, and not as a favor to me. If you decide to help him, do it because you want to, not because you expect me to resume payments eventually." "Are you going to resume payments?" "Linda, for 4 years I tried to raise a responsible adult. Instead, I created a 24-year-old dependent. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. What if he learns the lesson? What if he changes? If he really changes, if he really learns to be responsible and independent, then maybe we can rebuild our relationship. But that depends completely on him. What does rebuilding the relationship mean? It means we'll have a normal relationship between father and adult son, not a relationship between a bank and its favorite client. Linda laughed despite everything. You're terrible, Robert. No, Linda. I'm a father who finally decided to act like a father. After hanging up with Linda, I sat on my porch to think. Was I being too hard? Should I give Marcus another chance? But then I remembered the phone conversation, his cold tone, his disdain, the way he hung up on me. And I remembered something else, something that had bothered me for months. Marcus had never said thank you, not once in 4 years. He had never acknowledged my sacrifice. He had never shown appreciation for my support. To him, I was simply an automatic source of money, like an ATM that never ran out of funds. That realization hurt more than his disrespect, because I realized that I had created that dynamic. I had allowed him to see me that way. 3 weeks later, Marcus appeared at my door. He looked different, thinner, more tired, but also more mature somehow. "Dad," he said when I opened the door. "Can we talk?" "Sure. Come in." He sat on the couch where he used to sit when he came to visit me on Sundays, before all this started, when we were still father and son, not creditor and debtor. "Dad," he began, "I wanted to apologize." "Continue. You were right about everything, about my disrespect, about my dependence, about me not understanding the value of money. And how did you reach that conclusion?" "The past 3 weeks have been the hardest of my life. I had to move to a studio apartment in a terrible area. I have to wake up 2 hours earlier to get to work by bus. I've been eating ramen and rice because it's all I can afford." He paused. "But I learned something, Dad. I learned what it really means to work for something. I learned what it means to value every dollar I earn, and I learned how much you've sacrificed for me all these years." I stayed quiet, waiting for him to continue. "I calculated how much money you've given me, not just the $3,000 monthly, everything. University, the car, the apartment, food, clothes, everything. And how much was it? More than $200,000 in 4 years. His eyes filled with tears. $200,000 you could have used for yourself, for your house, for vacations, for your retirement, and I never said thank you even once. I kept waiting. Dad, I was an idiot, an ungrateful and selfish idiot. I thought your money was mine by right. I thought I deserved your support without giving anything back, not even basic respect. And what changed? Living in the real world, paying my own bills, realizing how hard it is to earn money, and realizing how easy it is to spend it when it's not yours. I leaned back in my chair. "Marcus, for 4 years I gave you money hoping you would become a responsible adult. Instead, you became a dependent adult. Why should I believe that has changed now? Because I don't want your money anymore, Dad." That surprised me. "I don't want you to resume the payments. I don't want you to help me financially. I want to earn my independence. I want you to be proud of the man I became, not the man you created with your money. And what do you want then?" "I want my dad back. I want a real relationship with you, one where I respect you, one where I appreciate what you do for me, one where I contribute too. How do you plan to do that?" "I already started. I got a part-time job on weekends. I'm saving money to move to a better apartment, on my own. I'm building my credit history. I'm learning to cook so I don't spend so much on food." He wiped his eyes. "And I want to start inviting you to dinner, in my horrible apartment, with my terrible cooking, but paid for with my money." For the first time in weeks, I smiled. "Marcus, that means more to me than any amount of money. Really, really. Because it means you finally understand what it means to give, not just receive." "Dad, is there any way we can start over?" "We can't start over, Marcus, but we can start from here. We can build a new relationship, one based on mutual respect." "How?" "First, you're going to treat me like your father, not your personal bank. Second, if you ever need help, you're going to ask me respectfully, and you're going to accept my answer, whatever it is. Third, you're going to value your independence and work to maintain it." Marcus nodded. "And Dad, can I ask you something? Tell me, can you teach me about personal finances? I don't want your money. I want your knowledge. I want to learn to handle my money like you handle yours." That was the best question he had asked me in years. "Sure, son. We can start this Sunday. Do you want to come for dinner?" "Actually, Dad, how about you come to my apartment? I'm going to cook. It won't be much, but it will be mine." "Perfect. I'll be there." As Marcus prepared to leave, he hugged me. A real hug, not the obligatory hug he used to give me when he came for money. "Thank you, Dad, for not giving up on me, for teaching me this lesson, even though it was painful." "You're welcome, son. Sometimes love has to be tough to be effective." 6 months later, Marcus had saved enough money to move to a better apartment. He had bought a used car with his own money. He had gotten a promotion at work, and he had learned to cook quite well. but most importantly, he had learned to be an adult, a responsible, independent, and grateful adult. And I had gotten my son back, not as my dependent, but as my equal, as the man I always knew he could be. The hardest lesson I had to teach was also the most valuable for both of us. If you liked this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts about this story in the comments.